I don't think I'm going to use the microphone. People can hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, hello everyone. I represent Ryan Young, and I am running for this nomination for this riding for the 2015 election. I have never seen this many people out for an NDP nomination meeting, so it's great to see so many people. I don't think we've ever had this many people in the party's history come out here in this riding. So, welcome. And I don't think I've seen this many people in a room together at the same time since the last time I was at a Queen International Fan Club convention. I want to say how much I greatly respect my fellow candidates, Daniel Quinn and Sean Lyden. It's always a drag to be It's always a drag to be in a contest with people that you agree with politically. And so I hope that whatever happens today, we can remain political allies. I'd like to make a special observance that today is International Women's Day. And our party is part of the tradition that first promoted and celebrated this important day. And you know, we have been at the forefront of fighting for women's rights in this country for decades. And out of all the parties in the House of Commons, it's the NDP that has the most women represented. And they hold important... Je l'ai déjà dit et je vais le redire que je pense que notre pays est à la croisée des chemins. Ça fait maintenant plus de 9 ans qu'on endure Stephen Harper comme Premier ministre. Il a ruiné notre réputation sur la scène internationale et il a fait disparaître tellement de programmes et de lois progressives. Le manque d'expertise impartiale à Ottawa aujourd'hui fait en sorte que le fonctionnement même de notre gouvernement est compromis et a besoin d'une seconde souffle. Alors, c'est clair qu'on n'a jamais eu autant besoin de la Parti Nouveau démocratique du Canada que maintenant. And now we are looking at a bill before the House that, for many of us, stretches our imagination of what we thought was possible under a Stephen Harper government. Bill C-51, la projet de loi C-51, that observers say basically violates our Constitution, violates our privacy protections, and violates what are considered the principles of national security law. And as New Democrats oppose this law, they are joined by a broad coalition of people across the country, including many of the country's brightest legal experts. And as we see the Liberals say they're going to vote for this bill, I think we are now at an all-time low in the political situation in our country, and now is more important than ever for people to stand up and speak out, because I think some of our most cherished freedoms are at risk. Signing up to be members of the NDP means that you don't agree with the status quo, and you are joining thousands of Canadians across Canada who are joining the party when the party has never been stronger. Personne n'a prévu le vague orange néo-démocrate qui a déferlé sur le Québec en 2011. Pourtant, c'est arrivé. It happened. Alors, il ne faut pas s'inquiéter des sondages actuels sur les intentions de vote. Since 2011, we've performed with excellence in the position of official opposition. And I want to help our MPs take it to the next level where we form the first NDP government this country has ever seen. Ici à Sainte-Anne-De-Bellevue, j'ai grandi dans un milieu qui m'a permis de connaître deux langues différentes avec plus ou moins deux cultures de base différentes. Et ça fait en sorte que ça donne une richesse et ça donne plusieurs points de vue qui est enrichissant. And I want to say, of course, that people in Sainte-Anne-De-Bellevue know that I love my community. J'adore la communauté de Sainte-Anne-De-Bellevue. But my love doesn't end at Sainte-Anne. I love this whole riding. I grew up in this riding. I continue to live in this riding, raise a family now in this riding, and work in this riding. And I've had the pleasure and privilege of being an elected official in this riding since 2009, when I was first elected to City Council in Sainte-Anne-De-Bellevue. And during that time, I've been able to see what works for people and what doesn't work for people in this riding. And what doesn't work for people is an underfunded medical system, out of control student debt, a system that often leaves the elderly, the ailing, and the disabled without sufficient support, and which makes life for many a struggle when we live in one of the most richest countries in the world, where we have laws that do not protect us from the irresponsibility of companies that pollute our environment and compromise the safety of our food. So basically, that's what doesn't work for people. What does work for people is a well-funded medical system. Our environmental protection legislation restored and strengthened, protecting workers' pensions, forging a nation-to-nation partnership with Aboriginal people, and not abandoning our veterans, which is what we're seeing today, but supporting them. And so what I talked about what does work. I want to say that, like all NDPers, I am committed to a greater good. I grew up in a family. My father was a sociologist who taught at John-Abbot College. My mother was a social worker and an artist. She's still alive. My father passed away in 2003. And they taught me, they inspired me, like my father inspired many, to basically not fall into that tendency, to go to the lowest common denominator, where people don't trust each other, where people end up being selfish, where they abandon their responsibilities as citizens. Every day we have the opportunity to act on our higher ideals, and my parents inspired me to be the change I want to see in the world. So I have dedicated my life to being the change I want to see in the world. And to achieve this, I've used one of the most powerful tools in the world today, which is the media. Whether it's producing and hosting an environmental radio program on CKUT, or when I used to write for the West Island section of the Gazette, or whether it's when I directed various documentaries about environmental and social causes, I've used the media effectively, I think, and I've proven that I have that talent and that I can get my message out there. Much of what animates my work in the media and in politics is my concern for the environment. And I have tried in my life to bring everybody else into the same point of view, to be concerned about the environment. And I'm happy to say that in local politics, getting involved in local politics has led to the protection of 80 acres of green space in this riding in the Lac-Saint-Louis Eco-Forest Corridor. And we've introduced composting in Sainte-Anne-De-Bellevue, and which has diverted a lot of our waste from landfill. So I believe for these reasons and others that I've been quite successful in municipal politics, and I want to take it to the next level, to the national level in federal politics. And finally, you know, what are we taught as kids? We are taught to share with each other, to not be selfish, to work together, to not fight over material possessions. And in essence, that's the philosophy of the New Democratic Party of Canada. Social democracy is the embodiment of caring for one another, and nobody can ignore that. So, you know, I think that the greatest fulfillment anyone can hope for in a society is to feel that they are supported, that they are valued, no matter how different they may be from the norm, and that their contributions matter. And if that's the sound of or if somebody thinks that's the sound of a voice of somebody who's a bleeding heart, well then I think we need more bleeding hearts on this planet. And I think in the NDP what we should say is we're not bleeding hearts, we have big hearts. I can't stand by any longer while I watch this country turn into something that the majority of Canadians don't agree with and that we don't even recognize in ourselves. And I think I'm an optimist, and I think we can turn this thing around and we can have the Canada that NDPers have been dreaming about for decades. We just have to work together, and I think we can be dignified human beings where we extend our care and our compassion to the world community, become stewards of this beautiful planet, and I am committed to that world for my children, for all my brothers and sisters here today, and for my fellow Canadians. And I feel that working in municipal politics has shown me that that world is possible, because that's what people want. And as long as they have a party like the New Democratic Party of Canada to fight for their rights, to stand up for what they believe in, then they're going to get that world. And Canada can be more than it is today. The world deserves more from Canada. We're going to give them more. We can do it. Thank you very much.
Next candidate for the NDP in the riding of Lac-Saint-Louis is Ryan Young.